Shalom. First, I'd like to give all praises unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, which is the name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and His Son, Yahweh Shai, in the ancient Hebrew. I would also like to give double honors unto the apostles and elders at GreatMillStone who have taught me this truth, who have taught me the gospel of Yahweh Shai. And I would also like to give honors unto my fellow laborers out there who are also teaching the gospel in all sincerity and in truth. Shalom. So this series is going to be centered around the state of Israel, and we're going to be looking at the origin of the state of Israel as well as its current state, and scrutinizing that information through the Holy Scriptures and the prophecies to see if indeed the state of Israel is a fulfillment of biblical prophecy regarding the restoration of the children of Israel in that land. Also, we'll be looking at the people who formed the state of Israel, who control that land to this very day, also known as Ashkenazi Jews, and we're going to look at that people and see whether indeed they are descendants of the biblical Israelites and do have a claim to the promised land or the land of Israel. And I would have to say that after you see this information, the only conclusion that you should get from this information that I'm going to be bringing out is that the state of Israel is in fact not a fulfillment of biblical prophecy regarding the Israelites and their return to the land, but rather is nothing more than a falsification of that event and a group of heathens, namely of the nation of Edom, establishing themselves in the land of Israel. Okay, and you will find out that these people who call themselves Ashkenazi Jews in fact are not Jews at all. They are not descendants of Judah. They are not even descendants of Benjamin or Levi or the kingdom of Judah as a whole, but are nothing more than Edomites who converted to a religion known as Judaism and have taken upon themselves so-called Jewish identity. Now, what I want to do in this intro video is get into a little bit of information regarding the promised land, regarding the land which the state of Israel occupies, and also a little bit about Zionism, which is one of the main ideologies which drives the, or should I say, which drove the formation of the state of Israel. So the first thing I want to do is I've got an article up here in Wikipedia entitled The Promised Land, and I'm going to read from this article. Okay, so it says the Promised Land, alright, is the land which, according to the Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible, was promised and subsequently given by God to Abraham and his descendants, and in modern context an image and idea related both to the restored homeland for the Jewish people and to salvation and liberation is more generally understood. Okay, so straight away in this article they are connecting the state of Israel to the salvation and the liberation of the Israelites, which is prophesied in the Bible, which we're going to show in this series. The state of Israel does not embody that. The promise was first made to Abraham, Genesis 15:18-21, then confirmed to his son Isaac, Genesis 26:3. Okay, so although Abraham had Ishmael and 6 sons from Keturah, which formed the Midianites, the promise was passed on to Isaac, and then to Isaac's son Jacob, which is Genesis 28:13, Abraham's grandson. The promised land was described in terms of the territory from the river of Egypt to the Euphrates River, Exodus 23 to 31. Chapter 23, verse 31, and a smaller area of former Canaanite land and land east of the Jordan River was conquered and occupied by the descendants, the Israelites, after Moses led the Exodus out of Egypt. Numbers 34, 1-12. And this occupation was interpreted as God's fulfillment of the promise, Deuteronomy 1 and 8. Moses anticipated that God might subsequently give the Israelites land reflecting the boundaries of God's original promise if they were obedient to the covenant, Deuteronomy 19, 8-9. So in actual fact, the Israelites never received the full borders which were promised to them, mainly because while we were in the process of receiving those borders, we broke the covenant, we broke the law, statutes and commandments of the Heavenly Father, and therefore we didn't receive it at that time. Alright, now it says here, which is why you have something known as the Greater Israel Project, which is basically an expansion of the state of Israel as we know it today. Alright, now it says the concept of the promised land is the central tenet of Zionism, whose discourse suggests that modern Jews descend from the Israelites and Maccabees, through whom they inherit the right to re-establish their national homeland. So the state of Israel, when they founded this state, they did it under the guise that these people were in actual fact the true descendants of the Israelites, and therefore the rightful inheritors of that landmass. Okay. Palestinians also claim partial descent from Israelites and Maccabees, as well as other peoples who have lived in the region. Okay. So that's the article. I'll also like to read some from the article on Zionism on Wikipedia. Now, Zionism is the national movement of the Jewish people that supports the re-establishment of a Jewish homeland in the territory defined as historic land of Israel, roughly corresponding to Canaan, the Holy Land, or the Roman named region Palestine. Alright, modern Zionism emerged in the late 19th century in Central and Eastern Europe as a national revival movement in reaction to anti-Semitic and exclusionary nationalist movements in Europe. Soon after this, most leaders of the movement associated the main goal with creating the desired state in Palestine, then an area controlled by the Ottoman Empire. Okay. Until 1948, the primary goals of Zionism were the re-establishment of Jewish sovereignty in the land of Israel, in gathering of the exiles and liberation of Jews from the anti-Semitic discrimination and persecution that they experienced during their diaspora. Since the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948, Zionism continues primarily to advocate on behalf of Israel and to address threats to its continued existence and security. So in this series, what we're going to be doing, like I said, is we're going to have a look at the State of Israel. We're going to have a look at these people who call themselves Jewish. Okay, and what you will find is they are not Jews, they are not descendants of the Israelites, and the State of Israel is not the prophetic fulfillment of the salvation, the liberation and the restoration of the children of Israel in the last days. Okay, so with that being said, shalom for now, and look out for the next installment. Shalom.